Hey guys, today we're going to talk about going to Disney World during COVID. Is it still fun in the middle of a pandemic? Yes, it is. I want to talk about the pros and the cons. I've been a couple different times in the last few months, and I want to just, give you my opinion. Now, one thing that I'm asking is please do not be the Karen in the comments that says, "Where are the masks?" Because some of this footage is pre-COVID. I'm just pulling all that I have from the many different times that I have visited. So please don't be that person. If you see that comment, you know they didn't watch the video. Okay guys, so now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the pros. The first pro is the limited lines are amazing. It's 35% capacity as of right now. The wait times on all the rides say that it's long, 45 minutes to an hour, so you might be looking at it at home being like, oh, it's not worth it. I promise you it goes so much faster than what it says. It has to, right? It's 35% capacity only. And so it will cap at that every single day. And so even though the lines may say a 40-minute wait, honestly, it's 40 minutes of walking, right? Normally you're just standing there forever and then you move a little bit and then you stand. When you go during COVID, it literally is just you're walking through the entire line. So you might see the line extend way far out past where it normally does. That's because there's literally 6 feet in between each party. And so you're literally walking the whole time. You'll get on the rides really fast. Don't trust the wait signs. It's awesome. And it's so nice to not have people cutting you and getting in your personal space, or having, other people's kids grabbing your legs and, hitting you with their swords during line because they're right next to you. That is the nicest thing ever. My parents were able to ride Flight of Passage 2 times in a row in just 30 minutes. And if you don't know, Flight of Passage is the longest possible ride ever in Animal Kingdom. The first time that I rode it, before the pandemic, I waited 3.5 hours, and that was a good day. I watched the entire movie of Avatar in line, and I still wasn't in the ride. That's how long it was. So the fact that they were able to go on it 2 times in just 30 minutes is crazy, especially because I think the wait time said an hour, right? But they were able to do it twice in 30 minutes. So the wait times, the limited capacity, it's super, super nice. Another pro is I have not gotten sick at all going to Disney World. Now typically, I feel like when I travel anywhere, I get sick for a couple days when I get home. This is pre-COVID, of course, because nothing is sanitary and you're touching everything, right? You're crammed together with a bunch of people and everyone's sick and it's terrible, right? Right now, everything is so sanitary. I feel so safe. Everyone's got their masks on. The cast members will ask you to pull it back up so there's nobody running around with their nose hanging out and whatever, right? Every ride is sanitized very well. They've got plexiglass up in all the lines so you're not face and face with people. It's actually kind of nice, and I hope that the changes stay this way. If you really want to be extra careful, you can bring your own sanitizing wipes, you can bring your own sanitizer, and you can use those on the rides before you hop down if you're really worried about it, but they do a really, really good job. And I have not gotten sick at all. And I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about the flu or anything. Usually I get a little cough when I get home because, the snot-nosed kids are running around and they're all sick. So it's actually very, very nice. They have sanitizing stations after you get off every single ride, and it does feel very safe. The last pro is it feels kind of exclusive. When else are you gonna get to go to Disneyland like this? Right, at first I was boycotting it because I was like, oh, the masks are gonna suck, it's gonna be terrible. But there's only 1/3 of people in the parks. That's the limit. Typically there's only 10 to 20% capacity. 35% is a really busy day for them right now. So you get way more attention and focus because there's not that many people. I've been to Disney on New Year's Eve, Christmas, days when it is insane and it is so overwhelming. You can't even walk without getting trampled, and it kind of is a nightmare. This is nothing like that. It's this exclusive Disney experience. You feel like you're paying a lot of money to be one of the very few people in the parks. It's really cool. This might be controversial, but the reservation system helps a lot with this. You get to know, if I book for March right now, I know way far in advance that I'm gonna have an exclusive experience. There will only be 35% people in the parks, which is great. And so even if it maxes out and gets super, quote unquote busy, I will still be able to ride everything in a day and without a fast pass and not have a problem. That typically does not happen in normal Disney World. It's very hard. Let's talk about the cons now. There are a couple, as expected. So the first one is not all the restaurants or food carts are open, which is a bummer. We could not find a churro anywhere. I mean, WTF, where are the churros? No one knew where they were, too. Like, we were asking cast members, like, hey, where can I get a churro? They had no idea what was going on. Everybody pointed me to a different direction. I spent 45 minutes following different cast members. Nobody knew where the churros were. They don't have them open. It's crazy right now, right? Like, and a lot of the restaurants that we love, our favorite haunts, they're not open either. So that was kind of a bummer. And the cast members were just super confused. It was like nobody really knew what was happening. Another con is the masks can get very hot, especially midsummer. Like in the middle of the day, the sun is blazing on you, especially in Animal Kingdom, which is basically just a giant greenhouse where it's so humid in there because of all the plants. I'm not an anti-masker, please don't think that, but I'm just saying it's hard, right? It wrecks your face. It gives you some serious maskne. So the tip that I figured out is I dip my mask in cold water every like 30 minutes, and then it actually gives like a cooling effect on my face, and it was way, way better. I just got it out of the sink, or if I like bought a Dasani to drink, I would just pour a little bit right on it. So they can get very hot. Be aware of that. When you take it off at the end of the day, it's going to feel amazing. But once again, you know, if you dip it in cold water, it actually becomes kind of a plus, helps you cool down, which you wouldn't have on a normal day. So the last con is that the high-touch rides are closed. Things like the Laughing Floor, those are all closed. Of course, that's a given, but it still sucks. It feels like it's a shell of what it once was. They still have the big stuff open. I think that they tried really hard to keep the big stuff open, the stuff that actually, you know, gets a lot of attention, but you will feel like there's less stuff to do simply because, you know, not as much is open. They had to close stuff. There's just certain things that they can't allow during a pandemic, and that makes sense. Overall, guys, totally worth it to go to Disney World. I love Disneyland. I had season passes. I literally bought them the day before Disneyland closed. It's like almost been a year since that date, and I'm frustrated about it, but I have actually gone to Disney World a couple times and learned to love it in place of Disneyland, which who knows when it's going to open, if it ever does. So anyways, guys, I highly recommend it. If you were on the fence about it, go. It's amazing, and I think it'll be a magical experience.